So this is going to be a really, really fun week. And I don't know how fun because I've never seen anything like Belmont at Saratoga. And I know the security, I feel like, is going to be pretty tight. Like we have a lot of West Point partners that like to do barn visits. But if any of them are listening and you're coming up, can't really guarantee how much barn access we're going to have. We're obviously going to be out for training. We're going to be at the paddock bar. We're going to have a really good time, but it's going to be an entirely new thing that we're just going to have to, fly by the seat of our pants a little bit. And, hopefully, obviously we'll have a really good time, but it's a new thing. And it's a unique experience, I think, to get all of those people up that come to the Belmont Stakes up to Saratoga early in the year. Saratoga Springs Town is going to throw like a big party. There's going to be a really cool concert on Wednesday night. I think they're going to shut down Broadway, so that's going to add to the excitement and the ambience. And it's just really it's going to be a fun weekend because there's just nothing like Saratoga, and Belmont has its own aura and own attractive qualities. And I think the new Belmont will have those as well. But Saratoga is just a place to be. I guarantee you, none of these people. I guarantee you, like maybe a quarter of these people that are coming up would not be coming for the Belmont Stakes at Belmont Park. It's just going to be such a unique atmosphere and experience, and we're really excited for it. And beyond all of the ancillary benefits and attractions of the Belmont at Saratoga week, there's going to be a ton of great racing as well. They've already drawn Thursday, Friday, and Sunday's cards. Haven't drawn Saturday yet. They're probably going to draw in like 45 minutes or so. We're recording this late afternoon on Monday, but there's a ton of great stakes action. There's going to be a little bit of a different look to some of the races. The Acorn, for example, which had been a mile and a 16th, one turn, is going to be a 2-turn, mile and an eighth race. There's some races on the turf like the Manhattan and the New York, which are usually mile and a quarter races. They're going to be run at a mile and 3/16 because they can't run the mile and quarter on the turf course. But obviously, the most impactful change is the mile and a quarter Belmont Stakes. And, TD Thornton mentioned this in his week in review, our old buddy at the TDN. He was saying, like, I'm glad that there isn't a Triple Crown on the line, because the endless bitching from people about how this can't be a legitimate Triple Crown if it's not a mile and a half would have been so grating and so overbearing that it's nice that now it can just be a regular Grade 1 3-year-old race like the Travers would be. It's shaping up to be a tremendous race. Mystic Dan is pointing there. Shout out to Kenny McPeak, in the vein of Dwayne Lucas and Dallas Stewart, not afraid to run his horse, running the horse 3 times in 5 weeks. Obviously, Torpedo Anna is going to be in the Acorn. Huge attraction there. She's drawing the outside post. Great thing about her, though, is she went to the front in her last race. She'd never been to the front before. She can do anything. So she's not going to be restricted by the outside post or any speed to her inside. Obviously, those are the 2 main attractions. But, John, give me a little insight into what you're looking forward to this week, Belmont at Saratoga.
Yeah, just to piggyback on a couple of things you said, Joe, reminds me, the racing weekend up at Saratoga, which is a boutique weekend, reminds me of like when Keeneland hosts the Breeders' Cup, and how, people come there and it's a great place to watch and it's a destination site, but you hit the nail on the head. More people are going to come to these races because it's at Saratoga for a weekend. It's something unique. It's something that's a little spicier. And people so embrace the town of Saratoga Springs, as well as the taking a step back in time to go to the racetrack and everything. It really is going to be exciting just for the change of venue alone. That's number one. Number two, TD, I laughed when you were talking about how in TD's article, he said, thank God there isn't, a Triple Crown on the line here, because because people would be bitching about it. Well, according to a lot of Baffert fans, there's already an asterisk next to the Derby. So it wouldn't have counted anyway, even if a horse did win the Triple Crown. I just have to put that out there. Okay. And I'm surprised that TD didn't put that in his art. Oh, no, I'm not surprised. Never mind. But let's focus in on one race in particular that I really was excited about. And you mentioned it already. Great foreshadowing. That's why we're great partners on this. Is that, the Grade 1 Acorn this year in particular is star-studded to the point where 8 of the 9 horses in the race are graded stake winners. 3 of them are Grade 1 winners. 3 of them are Grade 2 winners and a couple of Grade 3 winners. And oh, by the way, the one horse that hasn't won a Grade 1 is Regulatory Risk, is a Chad Brown horse that's probably going to be one of the favorites anyway. I mean, just, in a star-studded field, you have the winner of the Gulfstream Park Oaks, the winner of the Ashland, the winner of the Kentucky Oaks, the winner of the Black-Eyed Susan, and the winner of the 8 bells are all different winners. I mean, that's how impressive this group is top to bottom. They should really be calling this like the Fasig-Tipton Night of the Stars prep, as far as I'm concerned, because there's so many fillies that we're going to see, that run in this race that are going to be selling in November. You're welcome. Shameless plug for Fasig-Tipton for one of our sponsors. But it really is. I mean, I will guarantee you're going to see half the field in the Fasig sale selling in the first weekend of November, the first week of November, I should say, at that illustrious sale. But it is a really exciting race. And oh, by the way, we didn't even mention that one of the horses was the 2-year-old champion, in just FYI. I mean, and another Justify. So it is top to bottom. It is a really star-studded race. And I get excited about 3-year-old fillies because we campaign a lot more fillies than we do colts. And I'm glad we don't have a horse in this race because it is we'd be running for 5th place no matter who we ran in there.
For sure. And like we have at West Point, we have part of a horse named Sedona, who's a really nice filly. And she's only run twice, but she's run pretty well both times. There was some push, I think, from certain people to try to run her in this race. And Shug is like, no, she needs more time. She needs more development. And then looking at the field, I'm like, thank freaking God we didn't put Sedona in this race. Like, we'll see you in the Alabama, maybe.
Exactly.
Like, there's plenty of big races later on. Like, let these girls knock each other out a little bit because, yes, like this is, and honestly, this is one of the cool things about doing Belmont at Saratoga. As much as I love the Coaching Club American Oaks, that race has 5 or 6 horses in it every single year. Right. But because the Acorn is earlier in the season, and it's because it's aligned perfectly with the Black Eyed Susan and the Kentucky Oaks, we get 9 horses, and like you said, star-studded field. Even the horse who's probably going to be like 50-1, Becky's Joker, coming back for Gary Contessa. She won the Schuylerville.
First time out she won the Schuylerville.
And she's going to be 50-1 in this race. Right. So that tells you how strong of a field it is. Another really strong field right before it. It's one of three Grade 1 races on Friday, along with the Acorn and the Just a Game, is the New York Stakes. Yeah. It's got 13 horses in it. There are some just, Warlike Goddess. We've got Fev Rover, who obviously was a Grade 1 winner for Mark Cassey last year. Really nice Charlie Appleby horse named English Rose, McCulloch, Didia. I mean, just one phenomenal turf filly after another. I do want to give a little push. There is a horse I like in that race for our pal, for our pal Cherie DeVoe. She's got Star Fortress in that race, and I was there when she ran second in the Sheep's Head Bay last time. They went 52-4 for the half in that race, and she closed, and she just missed by a head, got beat by a Chad Brown horse and went wire to wire. She's 20-1 on the morning line. She's got a 104 buyer in her past performances. I think she's very, very sneaky. So she's one of the horses I'm most interested in betting this weekend, but this is going to be a phenomenal race to watch. And John, I'm sure you have an opinion on this. We've got the Just the Game, 7 horses, 5 trained by the Chadster.
Well, they should really rename this race, quite frankly, because this is not an abnormality. I mean, and it's not an anomaly. He usually has the majority of the good horses in the race, if not in this case, the majority of the field. Although there's a sneaky non-Chad horse in there that I think could do well. I mean, I'm narrowing it down to 2 horses, so I'm going to leave it at that because I don't want my odds to, I don't bet a lot, but I don't want my odds to be screwed because I'm mentioning it, and so many people are going to follow what I have to say about handicapping, especially.
Yep, back up the Brinks truck. Who are we talking about? Mission of Joy or Heavy Jets?
Mission of Joy. Mission of Joy, I think, has a puncher's chance of beating it out. And I just don't know, like I know this doesn't happen, but in my mind, in my crazy mind, it's like, well, Chad's got 5 horses in the race, so they're all going to be in cahoots and try to stop the other 2 horses. It doesn't happen. But it would be interesting to see if one of the 2 aren't you rooting? I mean, aren't you just rooting in your heart of hearts for one of those non-Chad Brown horses?
Totally. And it's this race and it's this whole division, but especially this race and the Diana.
Yeah.
Every year it's the Chad Brown Invitational. And I don't think he would do anything to compromise the chances the other do. Only Bob Baffery would do some shit like that. Shout out to our boy Scatify. But
you said that.
Hey, man, go watch the replay. Go watch the replay.
It was like a relay race, wasn't it, at that point?
I'm glad he came out of that unscathed, because call me a conspiracy theorist, but I feel like that was part of the plan. Anyway, the Another race I want to give a quick pop to on Friday is the Intercontinental, because we do have a horse running in that race. Our girl Gal on a Rush is running for West Point. She's another one of those horses who's she's overdue for a stakes win. She's run well in a lot of stakes races. She was second in the Alley Wow last year, close third in the Stuart Manor, close second in the Matron, close second last time in the license fee. Would love to see her break through, but she does have to go against the best turf sprinter. I don't know. Overcharged is up there too. It's Overcharged and Roses for Deborah are the two best Philly turf sprinters, maybe the two best turf sprinters in America. So Roses for Deborah is the one they all got to get around, but hopefully Gal can get something done on Friday. And then one other thing I like about this week, we got the Tremont and the Astoria. You don't get big fields, but it's always nice to see the 2-year-olds start to break out and start to separate themselves a little bit. And this is the beginning of that baby stakes schedule. So we're looking forward to those races. And it goes to show you what a great weekend of racing it's going to be. They haven't even drawn the Belmont and Belmont Stakes card, and we sat here and already talked for about 10 minutes about these races, because it's the bet for me. I'm biased. I'm a New Yorker, but it's the best week of racing, I think, in America on the calendar. So shout out to everybody who's got a horse, everybody who's going to be betting a horse, everybody who's going to be there. Can't wait to get up there and see all the West Point partners and all the fans. Like I said, it's going to be its own thing. We're going to see how it goes, and they're obviously going to be doing this next year. We'll learn a lot about how to do it next year. But yeah, this is there's not too many new things in racing. Like we kind of do the same thing every year, and obviously there's better renewals of certain races. But this is a completely different animal, and I can't wait to see how it unfolds. Hope you'll be there. John, I don't think you're going up, are you?
I am not going up. Actually, I'm going to be in Florida. I'm going to the other direction. I'm going as far away from Saratoga as you can, just for personal reasons. But all right, I got to ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say the Rangers have won and entered a Stanley Cup. Are you watching the Rangers game 2, or are you going to Saratoga and watching the races on Saturday? What is Joe Bianca doing?
First of all, I almost got through this episode without crying.
Oh, stop. They made it further than they should have. I mean, I know they were President's Cup and everything like that, but there were a lot of times where you're going, they maybe shouldn't have won that game. Like
this series, like I thought they were clearly the better team in the first 2 series. Yeah, this series, like Igor carried them a little bit, but I was at Aqueduct for game 2 or game 3 of the Rangers-Panthers series. I went down to the paddock, I did my duty, and then I went right the fuck back upstairs and watched the rest of that game, because I'm die hard and I bleed blue. And it was a rough weekend. But yes, I would do everything in my power to watch that game. But unfortunately, I don't have that conflict, and I can focus fully on racing.
The hockey gods did you a favor. That's all I'm saying.
Totally. That's what I always say, is that the hockey gods are so good to me. Exactly. Really.
So just
football gods too.
What's that?
The football gods too. They just love me.
Thank goodness the Super Bowl never crosses over with any important racing weekend. But no, I genuinely thought it was an interesting thought as to what you would have to do. Now, you don't have to worry about it next year, because obviously the Rangers either are going to make it or not in the Stanley Cup. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting the next couple of years how they continue to build that team, and whether or not we actually have racing again at Belmont.
You son of a bitch.